Good morning, everyone. It's 10 o'clock and we're going to get started. I hope everybody's having a great day. It's kind of chilly and gloomy where I am, but maybe the sun's shining in your heart. So that's the best thing. We have a lot of stuff coming up in the near future, and today is just going to be a brief overview. I'm going to let Andy tell you a little bit about the process and the progress and what's happening with all of this. And then I'm going to do a high-speed, real quick demonstration. And then we've got some other sessions later in the week, and we will repeat some of them next week so that if you missed what I said, you can join us again. Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy Grabmeyer. I'm with the State of Illinois Department of Human Services SNAP Employment and Training Department. So I have been the project manager for this particular data project. It was funded by a grant from FNS, the Department of Agriculture. And really, it's been going on for maybe 2 years now. And we're just now started getting to the point where we're getting ready to go live this fall. And so this is sort of your introduction to the system, to what it looks like. Many of you were involved in the designing of the system and gathering requirements and helping us test it. So I just want to thank all of you who participated, because we would not be here without you. This is the system that is designed to house all Illinois SNAP employment and training data. So it will be used by providers, it'll be used by E&T staff, state level staff. Our entire network will use this one system, and it will allow us to have better data collection, better reporting out both to the federal government and from our providers to us. And it will allow us to have more accurate reporting, as well as make better operational and policy decisions, because we'll have more information about what is actually working for our customers, how are customers moving through the system, maybe where are we losing them, how can we increase engagement and offer these benefits, employment and training benefits to folks who would really like them and who are eligible. And so I think this system is going to do a lot of things for us as a workforce system. And I believe it will also allow us in the future to make improvements and to coordinate better with other workforce partners. So I'm going to hand it over to Southern Illinois University. They have been our vendor creating this system. And so I'm going to hand it over to them. If you have any questions, concerns, you can email me directly at andrea.grabmeyer@illinois.gov. And you can find me in the directory, or if you have any trouble, I'll put my email in the chat so that you can copy it. But you can always contact me directly if you have any questions or concerns. And Dee, take it away. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Dee Reinhardt, and I know some of you from my years working with Epic. And this is a little bit modeled after the Epic, but a new and improved version. So we do have many of the same functions and features, and we do have some new things that we have added, and many of you will be just thrilled with some of these new changes. I do recognize quite a few of the names in the call today. And hi, welcome back. Anyway, so our partner page is right here on the screen, and I'm going to copy this and paste it into the chat. And this would be what I would consider to be your guidebook. Everything, all the instructions, all the whatever we come up with will be housed on this site. If there's any changes to any instructions, if there are changes to this or that, we will put that information on this partner page. So you want to make sure that you have this bookmarked on your computer. We have some links to the partner dashboard. We do not have it live yet. So once that is live, you will be able to link from here. Andy is going to be communicating with everybody who is supposed to have access to get you to sign off on an agreement of some sort, right, Andy?
Yes, we have a data agreement, and of course we have data privacy and confidentiality forms that IDHS has standard. It's basically a lot of the same documents. If you have IES access, you probably already had to sign these at some point. So it's a similar process. So it shouldn't be that unfamiliar, but we'll be going through that process in the next 2 weeks.
Thank you. Also, whenever we do these webinars and our technical assistance sessions that we will be doing moving forward, I do take attendance. And so what I need for everybody to do is to find the poll somewhere on your screen, because I did open it up, and I need you to answer what type of provider or agency you are associated. And so we have a CBO provider, we have Fcrc Cook County, we have Fcrc downstate. Are you state level staff, or do you fall somewhere else? Like I'm somewhere else. But I have 35 people that need to answer, and I only have 26 answers in the poll. So if you can please answer that poll question for me, I would truly appreciate it. So this is the partner page. I'm going to go back here. This is the partner page. This is the logo that we came up with for the program. So you'll see that on your documents. We have some quick start guides that we will have going on, whether you are Fcrc staff or whether you are an agency provider. We have the traditional partner training materials and videos, and we will post these recordings to this page once we have them downloaded from our tool. And then we have our full list of resources page where you will see the documentation. And we're building the tool. We're almost done, ready to launch, but we are building the tool. And so there are a few changes happening on a daily basis. So I do not have the instructions posted yet. They will be posted within the next few days as we iron out and firm up the actual tool itself. So make sure that you know where all of this is, because this will help you along the way. Along with other resources, we will be doing short tutorials on some of the pieces and parts so that we can have a visual as well as a reading version of the tool directions available for you. And then last but not least, once we launch, we will post any updates. We don't have anything updated right now because we haven't launched yet. And as soon as we do launch, if there is something that looks a little different from the last time that you were in there, then you want to come to the updates page and see if there is something new and different that we have updated. All of the tools will be here available for you. I will be available as tech support for you. We will have a system in place for you to submit your requests, and we will try to get those requests answered as soon as possible. Now, if you are with an Fcrc, we will do a determination as to whether a support piece is Illinois WorkNet related or whether it is something out of our control, and you would have to contact DoIT about it. But we will make sure that those things are taken care of and tested and tech supported and all that kind of good stuff. A couple of the things that we have here is the upcoming events. As you can see, we have some pieces here that you can register for coming up. Depending upon what your user experience is going to be, is the next webinar that you would attend. So if you are an FCRC who is not providing employment and training services, meaning if you're probably in Cook County and you're not going to be providing ENT services, you will want to attend this webinar. For FCRCs who are providing ENT services, probably those folks downstate, those you would want to register for this one. If you are a CBO and providing employment and training services, you will want to register for October 7th at 9:30 in the morning, which is Thursday. And then if you are a provider manager with IDHS, you will want to register for the webinar on Friday morning. So make note of this. All of these will be listed here. Any of the technical assistance or other trainings that we are going to provide will be listed on this page as well. And Andy did this handy dandy little, oh, that rhymed, didn't it? Andy did this infograph here. So if you want to click on that and take a look at that, you can do that as well. All right, I'm going to move on to our test format. And I'm going to close some of these pages. I will leave this open in the background. One of the things that you will need to have is an Illinois workNet account. Some of you may already have that. We will be giving you access to the tools as soon as you complete the paperwork that Andy mentioned earlier today. And so then when you are logged in, you will go to the customer support center, and the customer link will probably land you on a list of groups for which you have access. And then you just have to click on the ISETS group to see your list of customers. Now this is test, and test gets a little weird on occasion, but just like everything, we play with tests. So if something isn't just quite right today, it will be when we go live with the production version of this. So I happen to be logged in right now as a CBO agency provider. I also have another screen open here so that I can show you a difference, if any, between being an FCRC. That's what this person is. So I've got test accounts open for two different tools. And when we do our trainings later in the week and next week, we will have you have some access to test. We're going to have multiple people using the same provider, test provider. And then, so you might see something happening while you're testing the account next week, but we will have that available for you, and this week as well. So one of the things that we're going to do with this tool that was an upgrade is we're going to have you add the customers, and that will alleviate some of the issues of trying to have a customer access the system and fill out the application. So when you're on the customer list, you will want to first look to see you can either use a name and type it into the search filter. You can pick by a provider. Maybe you have access to more than one location. I know we were working with a couple of agencies that had 2 or 3 locations. And so the leadership of that organization would have access to all 3. You can search by case number if you know the customer case number, and this is a DHS case number or a DHS individual number. So you'll be able to search by all 4 of these items. I only have 25 people in my list. My list shows up by last name, and if you click on the top of the last name, it filters it alphabetically. So if you know that the customer's last name is Fines, you can go to that screen, filter by last name, and pick on the customer's last name. Now, what I am going to do, I'm not going to fill out all of this information right now. We'll do that in the more detailed webinar, but I do want to show you the screens. So when you add a customer, you will enter the first name, the last name. You will enter a date of birth. If the customer does not have an email address, you would check the box and it will give them a fake email address. It will give them a fake email address that is their first name, last name at no ISETS email. One of the emails that you could use for this person is the email address that they use to log into the My DHS Services account where they have it. Then you would enter their social security number and confirm it. You would select the appropriate provider if there's more than one. Enter the case number. So in this situation, it would be probably DHS entering this information unless the customer has a DHS card and can show you their number. And then what you'll do is you'll search for an existing customer. It will add a customer to Illinois WorkNet if that Illinois WorkNet customer does not already exist. And it will check to see if there is any IES data. And I apologize, I don't know what IES actually stands for. But y'all probably do. It's IES. It's the system with DHS that has the information available about their account. So once you do that and you search the account, it will bring you to a screen where you will complete an initial assessment for that customer. So now I happen to click on one of the customers that I had. And on the intake and referral page, thank you, Sarah, integrated eligibility system. On this screen, you can complete a universal assessment with a customer. And what it will do is it will take you through a list of screens that fills out personal information, skills and interests, situations to plan around, assessments, education, work experience, employment goals, training interests. If you need to, once you have this information entered, you can go in and then return to the information and make an edit if necessary. There are two different views. The initial assessment has all of the basic information that is required to be able to make a referral to a training provider. And then on the needs assessment, so there's an initial assessment and a needs assessment. On the needs assessment, you would see this screen and it says, if you want to see or hide the information that was already entered, then you can see this information. A lot of this is demographic. There has information in there about what they're making, what languages they speak. Then when we go on to the next screen, there's skills and interests. It has subjects that they were good at in school. How do they do with teams? How are they with computer skills? Just several different basic items. Situations to plan around. We have a whole list of things that may, in some places they call these barriers, but I would consider them more just situations that we have to plan around that maybe need some additional consideration. You'll fill this out on that customer's behalf. You'll check some boxes about where they want to work or train, and then we can go on to the next page. We have some assessment information. It is TABE, CASAS, ESL, other or none. and then we can move on. Education history, it will ask, did you graduate high school? Have you gotten any other information? Did you earn any credentials? What is their work experience? And on the advanced assessment, it will ask the needs assessment, not the initial, it will ask you for employment if they were employed. So it will ask you to add some employment history. The employment goals, what is it that they want to do? And this is all related to SOC codes, and you can look up different occupations. So if I put in, I use welding a lot, you can select a SOC code, and then it will save that information. You fill in some of the other information. If you need to look up wage data, we've got a lookup right there. So it gives you a whole lot of information right at your fingertips. What are their training interests? What do they want to do? Do they want to go to a classroom? Do they want to learn on the job? Are they not interested in training? And then you submit the application. So once this application is submitted, you see all of the information. We can collapse all of those sections if we want to. And then at the bottom, what's your next step? So we want to maybe view who's recommended for this particular participant. It gives you a list of providers that are matched. Now, I told you that I was logged in as a CBO agency. So what I would need to do on this, if I were, I think I'm logged in as Asian Human Services. So I've got 100% match here. If I want to see the 0% matches, I can do that. I can see what my matches are, and based on the program information, I can select a particular program. When I enroll that person in some activities, I can pick boxes, and these boxes are activities / services that would go in that customer's individual employment plan. And they are associated with the specific program. So Earn Fair might have something different from SNAP Job Placement, might have something different from TANF. And so these particular programs are listed here. They will be including the support services that your agency or office provides. All you have to do is check the box and click add, and it will add them. Now, if I wanted to send a referral to the Fcrc, because as we know with previous programs, that a person coming in or that you may have recruited may not be eligible for SNAP. So we always have to make sure that we get a SNAP referral for that customer if we are a CBO agency. And Fcrcs need to, if they're sending somebody as a referral to a CBO, needs to give you whether or not that person is eligible for SNAP and ENT when they send them to you. So there's not a whole ton of back and forth for that person. So if we need to send a referral, we have no papers going back and forth. Woohoo! No faxes, no nothing. They can just check the system, because I know what it was like going through Epic with this. So now we have this information at our fingertips. So I referred this particular customer the other day to Lower North. And I can click on this number next to this, and I can see the process flow between my agency and that Lower North office. So I made a reverse referral to Lower North. I completed my client assessment on the 24th. I anticipated services beginning on the 29th. I referred it from Asian Human Services. I can put in other notes. I can see what the Fcrc response is. And then I can print this referral form if I want it for the customer to actually have in their hand. And this came over onto another screen, so let me pull that over here. I have a whole bunch of other stuff open too. So it shows the referral form, the date, what's in here, and what service is requested. This needs to be added in there because based on the program that you pick, that's the service that they would be receiving: earn, fair, SNAP, job placement, those different types of things. This is something that is in the process of being updated. And then when is the recertification date? That was pulled from our sync with IES. What is their individual number and their case number? That was pulled from our sync with IES. And so this information is supposed to be completed by a local DHS office within 48 hours. Now, obviously, if you submit it on a Friday, it's not going to get back to you in 48 hours because of the weekend. So we probably need to understand that it's 48 business hours. And then we can submit this. Now, I already did submit it. You can see it print here. You can see that it is pending status right here. Once there is action taken by the local Fcrc on a referral and vice versa, you will see some additional numbers. You'll see a plus sign here. And if you click on it, you'll see some additional items below. So you can track the entire progress of that customer right here on this referral page. Additionally, I want to show you our overview page. Now, we do have plans to make this even better because after playing with it for a year and a half, we kind of thought, okay, I like this sort of thing better. But we're going to start out with this appearance right now. So right here we have referrals. And just a clue, if it is dark blue, it doesn't do anything. If it's light blue, it will click for you. So we have referrals here. We just saw those. We have status. And what we have here, I remember my days with Epic. We would have clients, customers who would lose their ability for services because they missed their RED date. And what we've done right now is we've entered the redetermination date right here front and center, and we will have a yellow caution if it's within 60 days. And once they're within that 30-day mark, it will turn red and say, you better do something to help this customer. And to do that, we have a link right here that will take them to application for benefits eligibility and let you go with them to manage their case and help them complete that redetermination. We have different levels, statuses that are available. This is a new tool, the attendance. Y'all are going to love this one. You can search for activities for a customer and enter the hours that they attended. So do I get a yay on this? Yeah. And then those activity hours will automatically transfer to the staffing report. The activities will show what's going on. Right now, this is in test and it's scheduled to be fixed by the end of the day today. But it will show you what kind of activities they've been doing and what the status is on those. If they've received any support services, childcare, transportation, clothing allowance, all of those sorts of things, those will show up here in a bar graph. Are they completed or exited? It will show you what program and what their completion status is. Were they successful or unsuccessful? Did they earn any credentials? You can add a credential here. It will have a SOC code on it so that we can track what industry credentials are being earned in and whether or not the customer is employed in that area. And then the last piece on here is employment. When they gain employment with your organization helping them, you will add that employment. And then there is a piece that you can do 30, 60, and 90-day verification right here on the form. We will have the ability for you to upload documents right here. We took some of the things off of the top menu and put them in the side over here. We still have assessments available if you need to do any of our assessments. We have case notes available, and in here we have categories now so that you can select a task to put that category, to put it in the category. And then all of these columns are filterable, and where did the case note come from? If we go back, let's see, we're going to go back here. We're going to talk a little bit about the uploads here. They can upload a file, and if you upload a file, it now has the type of file. So if there's something that we need to upload that's a standard type of file and you aren't sure that it's in this list, we can always update the form that needs to be uploaded in here so that you can just easily click. Then we have our handy dandy little tool here for case management. And this is, some of you may have recognized this as the career plan from your days with Epic. We have activities. Now, the activities are limited to those associated with the grant that that customer is being served by. So for example, earlier I added job readiness on that customer's add an activity. When I click on this activity, I can pick a goal. There is really only one goal associated with everything, and it's complete the program, but maybe you create some other goals for those particular customers. We're going to start this. We actually are going to start it. Oh, sorry. We're actually going to start this yesterday. No, wait, today. I'm going to start it today. Planned due date is going to be the 25th. How many hours a week are they going to work? Are there any other notes that you need to put in? I'm going to update the customer service. And I can add a case note. Where is employability plan? It's under IEP, case management. Is form uploaded to ECR? Juanita, what's ECR stand for?
Employability, it's the case record, the electronic case record.
Is that in IES?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're working on a data sharing agreement right now with IES. Right at this very moment, the CBOs can only upload to Illinois workNet. So we would have to have somebody get it out of Illinois workNet and then upload it into that electronic case record. But if the data sharing agreement comes about, we might be able to sync those things automatically.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I don't have a better answer for that one, but
okay,
we're still working on that one. Okay, and then what I wanted to show you with this is we have a service provider. So you can pick your service provider. You can add a dollar value of the service. So say this were transportation, you were giving them a bus pass or a gas card. You could add that information in here. We'll go into detail in some of the other webinars on this. Attendance, I want to show everybody this attendance. So this is the new tool that we built for this. And if you are adding attendance or tracking attendance, we can pick this date. I have to go back and come back in. I can go in and I can pick this date, and it brings up a schedule of the week, and I can put in hours, and maybe it was 10:30 a.m. They checked out at 2:30 p.m. Tomorrow they came in at 9 and they went out for lunch at 11:30. They came back from lunch at 12. And then they left for the day at 3. And Thursday they came in from 10:30 and left at 2:30. So they didn't get a break. They didn't get a lunch break. And then Friday they came in at 9 again and left at noon. So I'm going to save this. It tells me that it saved it. And then I have hours to verify. So maybe the customer enters the hours on their own, because we have that tool on the customer side for them to enter their own hours. We have a tool that we're going to have so that you can say Bill has a group of people and he is wanting to check all of them in at one time. He'll be able to check in 10 people for today. He'll be able to check in 10 people for tomorrow and have them all check in at one time, and then those can be verified. So maybe the customer entered the information themselves. You want to check the time record, and then somebody comes in at a later point in time and checks the box and says that it was verified. So this is, I think this is the best tool that we've created in a very long time. And I create a lot of stuff around here, so I think that's pretty good here. And then we can add credentials for that item as well. All right, I'm going to take a breath and a drink of my beverage, and I'm going to see if there's any other questions that I can answer for you before we move on to the next piece.
Hello, I have a quick question.
Sure.
And the only reason why it came up is because I saw that you had selected Asian Human Services, and I looked at their address, and the address is incorrect. So if can we have a contact
test data?
person?
This is test data.
Right. So like I said, the reason why I brought it up is that information. If there's any information about the providers that's incorrect, like the contact information has changed, would there be a contact person for us to reach out to share that information?
Right now, that would be Andy. And she put her email in the chat earlier.
Great, thank you.
All right, and I guess while we're putting information in here, this is my email address. And so one of the things that helps is if you've got a question and you think it's DHS related, or if you have a question and you think it's Illinois WorkNet related, sometimes it's just the opposite. So if you're going to send Andy an email, copy me. And if you're going to send me an email, copy Andy, just because that way, if it's not what you thought it was, then we both know and we can get you answered. All right, any other questions? Let me make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. Oh, Valencia, you asked that earlier. I'm sorry, I overlooked that. have the forms. Juanita, why are you yelling at me, honey? Has the forms 2151 and 2151A been updated?
I'm sorry, you know, I can't see, so if it's capitals, I forgot. I want my glasses on.
All right. Andy is providing us with the forms that we need. So we're using whatever she's giving us. So if there's an update, I'm sure she will give us those update items.
Yeah, right now the system has been designed with the current forms. We do have copies of updated versions that are in the process of being approved, but anything that has not been officially approved by policy and published is not in the system. As soon as it gets approved and published by policy, we will update that in the system. We've had meetings with policy to add that sort of step to the system of upgrading forms now. So any form that gets updated or changed will automatically be changed in the system.
So when we get supportive services, are the supportive services going to be updated in the IES, or we would only see it in the ISETS system? So that the local office won't duplicate those services.
Right now, supportive services are tracked in this system in ISETS. And if it needs to be put into IES for any reason, then somebody would have to manually enter it into IES. This system does not push any data to IES. The only data that this system receives from IES are eligible customers. So customers who are currently receiving SNAP and are eligible for ENT. That is the only information that we receive from IES, and it's an exported file that gets imported into this system. They are not integrated and pushing information back and forth right now.
Okay, one last question, and then I'll leave you alone. How will the local office know that there's some things that needs to be done in an ISET system if there's no interaction between IES, because we're task-based? How will we know there's a credential or anything there that we need to update in our system?
That process is an operational process that is on the Fcrc side. So it kind of I know it's not a great answer, but my answer is like, the ISETS system doesn't have any authority over what you update or don't update in IES. And so y'all are going to have to figure that out until we get an integration worked out. You're just going to have to check both systems. If you want access and you're providing ENT services, then you will want access to ISETS because you'll want to see that information. It's not automatically going to be in IES. And if information needs to be put into IES, then somebody is going to have to do that. That I don't really have information. That's kind of above my pay grade about what is going to be required or not required as far as like workflow for staff.
Juanita, this is Michelle. And I think some of those procedures are being ironed out in the process of what that flow will be, and maybe some of that information will be pulled and start with workforce development and be divided, sent to local offices. So if there's something that needs to be imported, that process is being worked on with how it'll come, that workflow will be between the local offices and workforce development. But the information will get provided if it needs to be updated, and it'll be updated either by local office, workforce development. The information needing to go in will get into the system. It's just finishing out the process of how that will happen.
Okay, great. It's just all of this information that's in ISET is so good that we all need to be able to have it available when we're looking at that customer as a whole.
Any other questions about the customer file? Okay, under the reports section of your Illinois, the ISETS toolbar, right here, it's the thing that looks like a bar graph, is where you will find the staffing and billing tools. Now, these are being finished by tomorrow. There was an issue with access, but I just want to show you the basics. So if I click on this, I'll be able to select a provider. I'll be able to select a program. I'll be able to pick a staffing month, and I'll be able to select an Fcrc office. So if I need to have a staffing with Lower North, South Suburban, I can't remember all the names, the Rolling Meadows office, whatever office it is that I have to do, I can create a staffing report for that particular office, and it will show up in the system. It will associate all of those particular customers, and then the documentation. So like the attendance, the 2151, if there's a 2151A, the 30, I don't remember all the numbers, the employment verification, all of those documents will all be funneled into that report, and it will be an electronic version right here in the ISETS system, so that we don't have to worry about faxing and hauling and all that kind of good stuff. So this is going to be fixed by tomorrow. I'm hoping that by the end of the week, I'll be able to demonstrate this, and next week I'll be able to demonstrate this. We also have the traditional worksite placement information that we had before. I'm sorry, this is the provider information. We have appointments that can be scheduled by the providers, so that if they want to have an intake appointment for a referral coming from an Fcrc, they can edit and add those items. If they're going to upload files for the organization, we have provider details, and this is the contracts that are available. They will be viewable. Right now, this needs to be fixed. Whatever is associated with that is viewable in here. The ENT programs, if there is a program associated with that provider, we'll have information in here for that. These columns are filterable. And then these case notes are associated with the organization itself. And if you'll notice that there is, these are basically about things that the organization needs to provide. It's going to allow communication between the provider manager and the program manager with the agency. And so this information will be available here. We already looked at the customer list. These are filterable. We can also get to the billing packet and the staffing tool from here. We can export a list of our customers, and when we export that list, we have a whole list of things that we can select that will be included in the Excel document. And last but not least, this is being worked on. We have the dashboard, and we have this list that will show us. The blue is the goals, and the colored items are the baseline if there is no goal, and it is the actual if there is a goal. And as you can see, if you hover, it tells you enrolled and active customers. The overall goal is 11. Monthly target to date is 4. We have currently 2, so we're not meeting our monthly goal on that particular piece. Then we also have a legend here that explains the colors below. We're going to have, this was suggested in one of our feedback sessions. We are going to have a stoplight format, for lack of a better word, and the Green means good. And if you, this is being finished as well. The green, if you hover over it, you'll be able to click here and get to that particular list of customers. 5 needs action of some sort. 5 red flags, that's meaning that action is way past due. And then gray is just informational. We also have a graph view, same information. And if you click on a section, it gives you a little bit more detail. And then we have a list view. My list view is gone. If I click on this, it will give me a list of those customers. What we have on the other page that he just disappeared on me is there's actually a list view of all of the details of each particular piece. So referrals that need to be done, referrals that are past 48 hours, referrals that have been responded to. So there will be a list detail available. All right, so that's our dashboard. We're tracking referrals, redeterminations, so that if you come to your overview page, you'll see that list of redeterminations. What are the activities that are happening? Are there people that need to be moving forward? What support services are available? Are there enough being listed out? And then completions. So do we have information completed? What are the outcomes credentials? Are we getting some numbers? What are they doing with all of these pieces? So that's our dashboard. We tried to color coordinate it so that it all worked together. What do you guys think? Give me a thumbs up if you got your camera on. Yes. All right. We got a thumbs up. We got a couple thumbs up on the participant list. Yay. All right. We thought visual would be a little bit better than just all those boring list of numbers that we had in the past. This way you still get the same information, but it is a little bit more visual, a little bit more easily accessed. All right. What kind of questions? I've got 7 minutes left. So what kind of, oh, thanks for the heart, Bill. What kind of questions do you all have?
Hi, Dee. This is Loris from Phalanx. I have a question.
Hi, Loris. Long time no see.
I know. My question is, you did talk about job readiness and the clients being able to enter their hours, as well as the CBOs entering hours too. I didn't hear you talk about the work site if they are assigned to a work site. Does that still go into play as well?
Yes. And we moved that tool. So if I go to a customer's profile, the work sites are down here on the left menu now. And so if we go to work sites, we can add a work site placement. Additionally, if you're going to add those work sites, we have worksite placement and groups over here in the right menu. We just tried to clean up the top a little bit so that it wasn't as cluttered. So we'll still need to add the work sites. So if they're working at Walgreens, or if they're working at Wendy's, or wherever they're working, you'll still need to add the work sites. You'll still need to, if it's subsidized wages, you'll still need to upload payroll. But I don't know the percentage of subsidized employment that is associated with this particular program.
Okay, for Phalanx, they're not earning any wages. So my question is, I know with Epic, they earn wages. but for this particular program, they won't earn the wages. So with the timesheet and capturing the signature, will that still go into play? Meaning having a printed copy and the customer signing off on it and the employer signing off on it and the timesheet being uploaded, will that still go into play?
I'm going to have to defer that question to Andy because that sounds like a policy question.
Well, I think it's a terminology difference. So if somebody is participating in work experience, which is one of the allowable activities, then that would go essentially under the attendance module under employment and training. So they haven't been placed. They're performing work experience. If they're not getting any kind of wages or stipend or anything, then I believe it falls under the work experience activity. Michelle, is that correct?
Yeah, then that's being updated a little bit as well. But for the speak of the way that the procedure is, yeah, if there's a pay to it, it wouldn't be considered work experience.
Right. So my question is, as far as time, will the timesheet, will we still need to upload that timesheet or no?
I don't believe so. I believe you just need to add the attendance in the attendance module.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That essentially acts as the timesheet. You wouldn't need to like upload a separate timesheet or like attach a document. There is a part in the system where you can add case notes and then upload a scanned document if you want to, keep those documented in the system in case, I don't know, they get lost or you just want an electronic copy uploaded to the system. You can do that. Yeah, Dee, can you navigate there? So here's an uploaded documents section where you can upload those if you want to, but really what we're looking for is the data and not the paper. So what we would like is the attendance in the system. And if you want to upload the timesheet just to have a copy of it, that's fine, but that doesn't really help us. What we would like is the actual data. What time were they there on what days? And that gets added into the attendance module.
Okay, just entering the data, that's it.
It would kind of serve, Andy, if I'm correct, it would kind of serve as a digital signature by adding it in there, is what we're saying. It's by you signing into your system and you inputting it, it would be kind of the same as a digital signature that, yes, this is okay, instead of having the paper document. I think that's kind of what she's getting at. I could be wrong, but my understanding
if somebody,
they sign the piece of paper that says, yes, this was me, this is what I did, and that's used in like the billing packets and everything like that. But by inputting the data in and whoever signs in to input that data, that's kind of giving a digital signature saying, yes, this is true and accurate. I think that's what she's trying to get at.
Right, that's why we have the hour verification step, so that if somebody adds their own hours or an instructor or somebody else adds hours, a program manager or somebody who needs to verify that can verify the hours, look at the timesheet, see that they signed it, and then verify those hours. And if you need to upload a copy of it just for your records, you can do that. Or once we get to a point in the enhancement of the system where, potentially all of the billing packets can be submitted just through the system, then you would probably need to upload those at that time. But entering the hours and then verifying them is essentially what we're asking for in the system.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Just to let you know, there's 28 of 32 people who checked in on the attendance. So I'm missing 4 of you all. You want to make sure that you get credit for attending today if you did. So make sure that you checked on the attendance. We did record this. We will post it to our webinar page on our partner guide. We will have those other webinars later this week, and we will have a second series next week. Bill, yes.
Can we register for the 7th today?
You can go to the partner page and go down here and register on the partner
you.
page.
Thank you.
Hi, Dee. I had a question. I put it in chat. What I wanted to know was, will the provider still send the 2151As to the ENT team? Will this ISET system replace the 2151s, or will they be still doing both?
I believe, and Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that we went completely digital. So as long as you've got the things properly filled out in the system will override the fact of you having to send a paper copy. The only paper copy that's needed is for the customer to have.
Yeah, that's correct. This system essentially will send and receive referrals back and forth electronically. So if you want to print a copy out and hand it to a customer for their records or as a reminder or something, you can do that. The form has not been retired, but this system will essentially send an electronic referral back and forth, and there's no need to use a form anymore. It's built into the system.
So Andy, so once the customer and the provider complete this information, how will the local office, will the local office get some type of ding that, hey, this customer is registered with this particular provider, this is a reverse referral?
Yes, in the system, if your Fcrc has ENT staff that have access to the system, that's whoever those staffs are that are responsible for responding to referrals will receive an immediate notification that these referrals need to be either accepted or rejected, and that's how the process goes. So if a provider does a reverse referral through the system and they're sending information, they're saying, hey, we want to enroll this person in ENT, on the other end at the Fcrc level or at the state level, somebody else needs to go into the system, receive that referral, say, yes, this customer is eligible for ENT. We receive this referral, and then send that back, essentially signing what would be the 2151A. And then the provider would get an immediate notification that that referral has been accepted, and then they can move on and enroll people. One of the purposes of that is to eliminate the lag time between when a provider makes a reverse referral and when that reverse referral is accepted, so that hopefully they don't have to wait weeks in order to enroll somebody to verify it. It can just be done through the system in a matter of hours or days.
Celestine, the other thing that can happen is whoever is working closely with the providers with Fcrc with providers back and forth, you can always check your dashboard every morning and see if there is something in the needs action or in the red flag area. So that's another way for you to make sure that you're staying up to date with all of this.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So one other thing, those that have already been enrolled and we have reverse referrals on them, who is responsible for putting that information into the system?
Into which system?
In ISET.
ISETS is done if you're approving the reverse referral, or if the reverse referral is sent, it's all done through ISETS. Now, the other piece is what's going to get entered into IES prior to the data sharing agreement being completed. That's going to have to be done by hand.
That's got to be done by who?
By hand, by
Oh.
person.
Okay,
So
thank
as
you.
we prepare to go live, like all of the data that you're seeing here today, like Dee mentioned a few times, is test data. We have added it in here just to test the system. As we prepare to go live, we will be importing real information about all the providers that have contracts with us, what their contact information, their address, who their users are, the program managers, what their contracts say, what their budgets are. And then we will also be adding in a data file pulled out of IES that is currently eligible customers, currently enrolled customers, which providers are already working with them. All of that information has to be entered into the system as a starting point. Of course, it's not all going to be 100% correct. No data really is. And so as we go live and people start logging into the system, it will be the provider's responsibility to double check their contracts, to double check their enrollment, and FCRC's, any of those staff or state level staff, workforce development staff who are working on this on ENT to log into the system, make sure that those folks are correct in the system and correct anything that's incorrect. So we do have to have a starting point of some data that we have to enter in here before we go live. But it's a living data system, and so everything has to be updated as we go along. So people will need to change addresses, they'll need to change phone numbers, they'll need to, like that, all of that information has to be updated as you go along.
All right, we are over by a couple of minutes. If there are any other questions, we're happy to stay and answer them. Just to let you know, somebody said that the message popped up about the poll and it disappeared. Check behind some of your other screens. Like if you're looking at my screen view, minimize that or minimize the list of people to look for the attendance poll pop up.
Okay, thank you everybody for attending. As always, you can email me at andrea.grabmeyer@illinois.gov, CCD, or the other way around, email D and CC me. But thank you so much for attending, and I hope that you'll all sign up on the partner page for the training that is most appropriate to your role. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to email me and I'll help you find the one that's correct for you. So thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Lois, your picture is pretty.